Welcome back to Move Ahead with Dalia. On today's podcast, we're talking about healthy living with juices. My guest is Rob Felder, owner of the Pure Juice Joint.
Yes.
Hi, Rob. How are you?
I woke up. I'm excited.
Awesome. Thank you for being here.
Appreciate it being here. I appreciate the invitation.
Thank you. So let's begin by having you talk about a little bit about yourself and why you started the Pure Juice Joint.
That's a good question. I'm glad you asked me that. I remember back when I was 36 years old, my waistline was 36. And this was the beginning of my health journey. The late Bishop Brazier at my church created a 21-day Daniel fast. And in the Daniel fast, we were eating nuts and berries, and we couldn't take in any food, anything, so we had to eat like raw stuff. And so I did that for 21 days, and my waistline went from 36 to 34. I felt younger, I looked younger, and for the first time, I got exposed to my species diet, and I found out that I was a herbivore, which means I'm supposed to eat plants, vegetables, fruit, nuts, and grains. I never knew that. And so from that fast, I said, well, I'm going to be a pescatarian. And so I started with fish, and I cut all the meat out of my diet. That was great. But then it was like, the fish that you're eating now isn't the fish that is the most healthy for you. So because we got a lot of pollution in our lakes and seas, and a lot of times a lot of bacteria, stuff like that. So anyway, I got off of fish, and I went from being a pescatarian after a few years to being a vegetarian.
Okay.
And that was working well for me because I was taking in more fruits and vegetables and stuff like that. But I got caught up on the dairy.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And I was eating too much cheese. I was eating too much this and that, the other. So I said, well, you know what? After a few years of that, I said, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to more of a vegan diet style. And I've been vegan for the last 8 years. And it's worked well for me. Just turned 58. I won't eat anything with a mother and father to it. Because one thing I noticed on my health journey is that the older you get, the more food sensitive you get.
Right.
And we can't eat the things that we used to eat. Besides, these big corporations are taking over the poultry industry, the meat industries, and they combine all these animals in one space, which is a breeding ground for diseases because they're stepping on each other, eating their own feces. And even though they're being pumped with a lot of steroids and hormones, that goes back into your body if they eat their own feces and it mixed with their own feed, and what they feed them, if it's not grass fed and they're not feeding herbivore food, then whatever the mix of the grains that pumps them up will go into the body of the person. That's why you see these little young girls having menstrual cycles or having breasts, because all that steroid stuff is being pumped into them.
Yeah. So you changed the way you eat over 20 years ago.
Yes.
And about 7 or 8 years ago, you got involved with the juicing. And why did you do that?
Great question. So this was not on the radar for me. I was basically juicing for myself.
Okay.
And I'd married my wife about 7 years ago, 8 years ago. And so what happened is I used to be a bartender back in the day. I went to bartender school, and I was a mixologist, so I was always trying to, create the great drinks and stuff like that. So when I got married, I told my wife, I was like, hey, look, you have to give up a lot of stuff that you're eating because, you're getting older and you're getting food sensitive. We're the same age. She's like, no, I gave up too much. I'm not going to give up my chicken. She was stuck on chicken, And my wife is Latino. She's Puerto Rican. So she's like, I'm not giving up my chicken. I love my chicken. I said, okay. And so she went to work. She was judging my wife does she used to do. She's in something totally different now, but she was managing places for senior buildings.
Okay.
And so she was judging a real man cook contest, and they were cooking chicken. So she ate the chicken. Blood pressure went over 200. They rushed her to the hospital, and they told her, "Hey, you about to stroke out. We were finna put you on these blood thinners, blood pressure medicine." She calling me, panicking. I go down there, and they gave her the prescription. I said, "You're not gonna take that." She's like, "What do you mean? I'm gonna, they said I was gonna stroke out. I don't want to be, equivalent." Da, da, da. I said, "Calm down." See, one thing about marriage is that you have the reason why most marriages work, because you have an excited person and you have a calm person.
Yes,
Okay?
that's very true. I'm the calm one in my marriage. My husband would debate that, but I am.
Right. So you got the calm one, and you got
Yeah.
you got the excited one. So she's the excited one. I calm her down.
Right.
And if I get excited, sometimes she'll step in to calm me down. So it's kind of like
You're learning from each
we
other.
learn from each other. It's a push and pull. So anyway, I calmed her down and said, "Hey, look, we're going to do something more holistic." Because when you start taking, now I don't have nothing against doctors or medicine.
Right. And you're not a doctor.
And I'm not a doctor.
Okay.
So let's get that straight.
Yes, let's mention that.
I'm not
this
a doctor.
This is all about your experiences.
Right. I'm
and
sharing.
What you're sharing.
I'm
yes.
sharing. So I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to practice medicine.
Right.
I'm here to practice good health.
Okay.
That's the difference.
I love it.
Okay, not medicine, good health. So anyway, I said, well, we have to take a more holistic approach to this, because when you start taking medication, it has side effects that'll lead to more side effects. That'll lead to more side effects. So we're playing a chase game. We want to stay ahead of our health. We don't want to get behind it. We don't want to be proactive opposed to being reactive.
Absolutely.
And if we don't do that, then we set ourselves up for what is called a domino effect, because once you start putting this pill will lead to this pill, because it will treat the symptom, it won't treat the problem.
Right. You got that right.
They just treat the symptoms. Yep. Because in my opinion, my humble opinion, so don't quote me on this because I'm not married to this, but in my opinion, I think that we have more of sickness management opposed to health care. Now here's the difference. When I was growing up, the doctor knew our names.
Yeah.
We had one doctor. He knew my sister. He knew my brothers. He knew my mother. He knew my father. He knew what our health history was.
Right.
He knew what medications that he prescribed to us. He knew if we had a cold, we had this and that, the other. He had our charts, and he kept up with us. And he was someone we can rely on to give us the honest truth, because he took a more holistic approach to helping us help ourselves.
Yes.
But nowadays, you have a team of doctors.
Yes. You don't see one, you see like 5.
You see 5. And the problem with that is everybody's got an opinion.
Yes. They're not always the same.
And everybody ain't on the same page.
Right.
And they say, well, he wants you to try this. He wants you to try that.
Right.
She wants you to try this. She wants you to try that. He wants you to try this.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, your medicine cabinet look like Walgreens.
Yes.
And it's no fault to yours. It's just that they're trying to figure out what's wrong with you when you have to
be proactive.
Take charge of your health care.
And is that what your wife did? And what's your wife's name?
Her name is Carmen.
Carmen. What did Carmen do?
Okay, so here's the thing that we done. So I said, okay, we're not gonna, go to the medicine route. Let's take the holistic approach. So we went to the stores, and I said, I'm gonna put you on the 21-day juice fast, because that way, whatever is in the body, it'll clear itself up, because we have self-healing bodies. And so we have to put the right fuel in it. So I said, well, we're going to do cold pressed juices, because the reason why I wanted to go cold pressed juices is because it's unpasteurized. They don't cook all the enzymes out of it. And see, enzymes is the food inside the food that really feeds us. Okay? Our bodies are starving for enzymes.
Yes.
And when we cook, anytime we cook foods over 132 degrees, any plants or vegetables or that cooks the enzymes out of the food. And so we're eating, but we're not getting fed, because the body craves enzymes.
So the cold press is keeping the enzymes in the
The juices.
In the juices, okay.
Because it's not, it's not been pasteurized to give you a longer shelf life. Like the shelf life on my juices is like 2 weeks because I use a commercial grade juicer and I'm not at home, I was at home, but anyway. So I went on the market, I was looking at the juices, and by me being an old bartender, my palate is a lot different and my taste buds is a lot different. So I'm very picky. They had too much sugar. They had too much pulp. They had this and that, the other. And I said, well, you know what? I can make my own formulas. And so I went back home. I focused on 4 key areas. Cardio. So I made something called a mucus buster. I did oranges, grapefruit. Grapefruit is the number one thing to open up the sinus, for the lungs, to clean the lungs. Mm-hmm. Citrus is the number one thing to open up the sinus. And then I did red grapes and I did pineapple. Mm-hmm. Now, the reason why I chose pineapple, because pineapple has what's called bromelain in it. Mm-hmm. Now, bromelain fights against inflammation. Now, when you talk about health or being healthy, the building blocks for all diseases is inflammation.
It sure is.
That's the building block. So if you start to knock the building block off of the disease, now the disease will have a hard time forming, or your body will be able to overtake anything that might form. So I made that first juice, and I said, well, I want to concentrate on getting more oxygen into the body, because a lot of times when the pelvis gets full of water, we breathe from the abdomen. So when the pelvis gets full of water, you breathe shallow and you're breathing from your lungs. These are airbags. You don't supposed to breathe from here. You're supposed to breathe from the pit, from the abdomen. And so when you don't breathe from there, you're breathing too shallow, so that unoxygenated body will create more disease in it. So we want to get more oxygen, so I create the mucus buster. So I wanted to work on the gut, because a lot of times people that don't have good gut health tend to have what's called diverticulitis. Now, diverticulitis is inflamed intestines. You ever seen somebody that the midsection is bulging out like this?
Yeah.
Okay. And a lot of times guys will say, well, Lord, I'm eating healthy. Oh, I'm just, No, you're on fire. You have inflamed intestines. What diverticulitis means, inflamed intestines. This is 5 feet long. This is your large intestines. Your small intestines is 25 feet long. So when this gets full of waste, the body surrounds it with water to dilute it. Because water is a solvent. It's not a hydrant. That's why you can drink a lot of water and you're still thirsty.
Right.
Okay, because you're not hydrated on the cellular level. So anyway, the body surrounds it with the large intestine with water and try to dilute the waste byproduct in here, because you got slow bowel transit movement, and it's not successful because you keep on eating and you're backed up. So now you keep on bringing in food and you haven't let your body dissolve what's already there, and you probably dehydrated. That's why you get the dry skin and everything. That you women, y'all can put as much lotion. Listen, put as much lotion you want to, but
it's not gonna work.
It's not gonna work. That gut is dry. It's not gonna work. So I created the gut buster so that it will hydrate the gut. Mm-hmm. Papaya is the number one thing to give you good hydration in your large intestines, so that you got good, what is called good bowel transit movement.
Interesting.
Papaya. And so I put the pears in there to give you the fiber, and then I added the pineapple. Then I wanted to work on the kidneys, okay? Because remember, you got to have good kidney health. So I created something called the blood of Jesus. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I call it blood of Jesus is them beets, whatever you put beets in, whatever color juice, it would turn it red. I was like, wow.
It's a beautiful color.
It's a beautiful color. But here's the thing. Beets is the number one thing that works on the kidneys and clear the blood.
Yeah.
Beets.
Well, as Puerto Rican, I never saw beets growing up.
You never saw beets?
I mean, I've seen it now, but growing up,
where did you
that
grow up
wasn't
at?
Something we ate.
Where did you grow up at? Is you in the city or
I grew up in the city.
My wife is from Yabucoya, and she's got. She grew up in. She was born in Puerto Rico, and she grew up in Yabucoya, and she came to.
So was she familiar with beets growing up? Did she say that?
Okay. She wasn't.
So I don't know why, but I didn't know about beets till later. And when I tried your blood of Jesus, well, I've eaten beets now that I'm older, but when I tried your juice, raw beets? Yes.
Raw beets, okay.
Raw beets. Good. But when I tried this, I loved it.
Okay.
It is so good. The texture is like creamy. The color's beautiful, and the taste is amazing.
Now watch this. The number one thing that works on kidneys is beets. Beets is your number one kidney cleaner. Now so I did that, but I wanted to work on the eyes, beta carotene. So I put carrots in there. And then I wanted to have something open up the lymphatic system, lemons. And I just was researching all this stuff. And then I said, I need something to clear the arteries. Because remember, it's one thing to clean the kidneys, but it's another thing to what's cleaning the arteries.
Right. Because
plaque builds up in the arteries, and I'm gonna go over how all that works. So I put the apples in there. Apples has what is called pectin in it, and pectin clears the arteries. And so that was the combination for the blood of Jesus. And then I said, well, I have to have something to clean the first filter, which is the liver. So I came up with the green glory. Now that's your kale, your spinach, your dandelion. And dandelion.
When I saw the color, I was like, but it tastes great.
Yeah. Well, people are thrown off by the color.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of misguided green drinks out there.
That one's called Green Goddess?
It's called Green Glory.
Green Glory, yes.
You can't have the blood of Jesus and not have no glory. So I was kind of following up like that.
So that has what? Kale?
Kale, spinach, dandelion. It has turmeric in it, and it has ginger.
Right.
Now, turmeric builds up the immune system. Ginger lowers the cholesterol.
Okay.
And then I put cucumbers in there for skin, hair, and nails. I put celery in there. Now, celery, when you break celery, it's like bones. It's good for bone density.
I love celery.
Okay. Then I put green apples for the pectin, green grapes for the oxidation. I put lime in there. Now, as a bartender, people are like, oh, put the lime in my drink. They never knew that lime protects the liver.
Yeah.
That's why you see it up at bars. And then I put the bromine in there. So I gave her these 4 drinks. And she drank them for 21 days. Okay. She lost 40 pounds.
What?
Yeah, she lost about 40.
In 3 weeks?
Yeah, she lost about 40 pounds.
Wow.
She felt younger. She looked younger.
Yeah.
Because remember, she was giving her digestive system a break. I made her a liquiditarian for 21 days.
Right.
And so she was bombarding her body with enzymes. And she was eating at the highest level. She was not hungry because she was eating. She just wasn't chewing.
She was having juices.
She was just having juice and water.
And water.
Okay. And water, because remember, water's a solvent, so we need the solvent. But I was doing distilled water, so it would have some continuity with the juices. Yeah. So it was juices and distilled water because it has no metal in it. And you want to get water at its purest level. Okay. So now she was drinking that. And so when she lost the weight and she looked better and felt better, she didn't. And she went back to the doctor. It's like, oh, man, I see all the pills are working. She said, I didn't take a pill. I didn't do none of that.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, after she finished the fast, she became a vegan. It blew me away. It's like,
look at that. That's amazing.
Right. She's like, I'm never going to go back to eating the way I did before.
She felt the best she ever felt in her life, I bet.
Felt the best she ever felt. And then, of course, you women, y'all tell y'all friends, and your friends is like, and then I had 20 women show up to my door. And it's like, look, please, whatever it takes, we're going to give it to you. And I said, okay, I agree. My wife made me agree to it.
So that started.
And that started the whole process.
And you said they have a nickname for you. What's your nickname?
Rob G, the Juice Goat.
The Juice Goat.
The Juice Goat, right.
And what is the website?
It's the purejuicejoint.com.
Okay.
And you got to put in because there's a lot of people that's imitating me.
Right.
It's thepurejuicejoint.com.
And how about your social media?
I'm on Instagram at purejuicejoint.
Pure Juice Joint. Okay.
Yep. And you can reach me on Instagram. But
well, they can find you. Your face is on there because I just I just followed you on Instagram. I saw you on there.
And I made a few videos. And I really like to get into telling people that health is the new wealth. So we have to, as we get older, it's every 7 years we go through a change. When you're 7 years old, you see the world different. When you're 14 years old, you see the world different. You're at 21, you're an adult, but you see the world differently. And then, it goes on to 28 and so on and so forth. And so at these critical points in life, your body does a shift as well. Your body does a change. And so you have to look at your experience and say, oh, am I going to continue on a path of least resistance, or am I going to make a change?
Right.
Because when you get to 25, guys and girls, hormones And stem cells you don't get for free anymore. You have to earn that
Your
stuff.
body changes a
Your
lot.
body changes. And so after 25, the metabolism slows down and everything else, and now you start to feel all the dumb stuff you did up to that age, if you did anything. But you want to make sure that you are putting yourself in a position to where now the body is prepared to make the transition.
Okay. Well, when we spoke last week, you said something that I won't forget, that the food disconnects you.
Yes.
What did you mean by that?
Okay, so what most people don't realize is that when you eat processed foods and meats and bolognas and hot dogs and stuff like that, that's a class 1 carcinogen.
Okay.
You might as well be smoking a cigarette. That's why people catch cancer and they never even smoked a day in their life because they're eating carcinogen processed meats. Like I was over in London, and a lot of the stuff that they have over there, they won't even allow in their country. A lot of processed stuff we have here won't be allowed there.
Okay.
And so that's because they believe in eating fresh, more organic stuff and taking in more things that doesn't have a long shelf life. Because the longer the shelf life is, that means that it's almost like embalmed meat or embalmed this and embalmed that. And that goes into the body, and that causes all type of havoc in the body, and that causes us to be dried from the gut. Because there's 3 ways that the body releases toxin: urination, defecation, and through the skin. And then when people break out with the eczema and stuff like that, that's toxins coming out the body. Okay, let me show you a prime example of why we have to keep the liver clean. Now, the liver is your first filter of the body. Right? So the liver, when it gets toxic, let's say if you drink it or something like that, or you haven't did any type of cleanse, when the liver gets dirty, the liver toxifies the gallbladder. The gallbladder sits underneath the liver. So when this toxifies this, the gallbladder lets in more saturated fats and grease. And that's why, here's the saying, and I used to have it all the time when people get drunk at the bar, I say, oh, I need something greasy to absorb the alcohol. No, what you're saying is, my liver's dirty, it let this grease in, the grease has chemicals in it, and my body likes those chemicals and it wants more, you being addicted. Okay? And so now the grease starts to harden the arteries, which lowers the circulation in the lower half of your body. That's why you get the Charlie horses and you get the cramps in the legs because of blood clots. Okay? So the gallbladder is connected to the pancreas. Okay? The pancreas start making less insulin. Now they're telling you you're type 2 diabetic, or you diabetic, or you type 1 or whatever, because this has toxified this. Now, here's the thing. Most people don't understand. They think that what's behind their belly button is your stomach. That's not your stomach. It's your large, small intestines. Your stomach is about this big. It's up here. Okay? So underneath the stomach is the pancreas. So when the pancreas gets toxic, it toxifies the stomach. The stomach makes more acid. The acid goes up your esophagus. Now you got acid reflux. It's all connected.
It sure is.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's really important to do things like drinking the green juice and getting dandelions in there. If you can do you get my juices or anybody else's juice, just make sure you got dandelions in the juice, because that's your liver cleaner. The lime is the liver protector. So one cleans it, the other one, and that's why I incorporated the two, the vegetable and the fruit inside the juice, so that now you can get both qualities from the juices.
You intentionally put those
intentionally.
ingredients in to help one with the other one in your body.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm always being a bartender, I'm always looking to try to infuse certain things into the drinks that I use. And so now here's the other thing. When I did the blood of Jesus, I did that very intentionally, because now remember, the kidney sits in your back. Okay? So when the kidneys get toxic, it toxifies the pelvis. Okay? That's why you get the bloatedness in the front That's why you get the puffiness in the thighs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of men and women start to retain water because water is a solvent. The body automatically puts water in it when it's toxic, because the toxins that come from the kidneys, it'll leak down into the pelvis. It'll cause toxicity in the hips. It'll cause toxicity in the gluteus maxima. It'll cause toxicity in the sacrum, which is your tailbone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which will cause the lower back pains and headaches. Okay, and then you'll get the puffiness under the eyes. You get the streaks on the cheek full of liver, and then people say, "I'm not getting enough sleep. My back is hurting." No, it's coming from the kidneys. So when the kidneys toxify the pelvis, the toxins will run down the sciatic nerve, and uh, that will cause all type of toxicity, swelling of the ankles, discoloration of the toes, the sciatica in the foot, all coming from the kidneys. So you got to understand what's the source, so that you can start to heal the source. So now once you do that, then the body starts to correct itself down the line, which is why it's so important to do a 3-day juice fast that I have on my website.
Which I wanted to talk about, but I also wanted to ask you, where do you source your ingredients? Where do they come from?
That's a good question. A lot of times I get it directly from the distributors, and sometimes I deal with farmers
Okay.
on an organic basis. Now, a lot of times if you can't get organic, or sometimes I can't get organic, even if it's organic in my ingredients, I always use apple cider vinegar
Okay.
as a stripper.
Oh.
Whether your products are organic or not, this is just an added layer of protection.
Okay.
Or if it's not organic, this is how you make your product organic.
Okay.
You take it and you soak it in apple cider vinegar. The apple cider vinegar will strip any chemicals off of the fruits and vegetables, and then that makes it organic.
Oh,
so
I
you
didn't
can
know
buy
that.
unorganic stuff, and you can turn it organic, but you have to go through the process of.
So there's a process to cleaning the vegetables,
Yeah. So
and the fruits.
The
Okay.
fruits, because you want to get any type of pesticides. Even though people advertise that, you still want to do an added layer of protection, because my first commitment is to the people that enjoy my drink, because this was not on the radar for me.
Right.
I didn't. I did it to save my wife's life, because I do insurance. I'm an agent with New York Life.
Wait, New York Life?
Yes.
Okay.
And so this was never on the radar for me, and I never wanted to go this route. But because there was such an outcry, and so there was no one in my neighborhood that looked like me and talked like me, and and when the pandemic hit, I had so many people coming to me, and the cool part about what I was doing was it kept us healthy. We never got we never caught coronavirus and nothing like that, because our immune system was so high, and we were vibing at such a high level. We were fasting.
Okay.
And the cool part about fasting is that it gives your digestive system a break.
Well, which is what I wanted to ask you about. Talk
Okay.
about the 3-day fasting with the juices. How does
Okay.
that work?
Okay, that's a good question. So every 90 days, we have to detox our bodies.
Okay.
Every 90 days. And when we don't do that, imagine if you didn't change the oil in your car, what would happen?
It would start affecting other parts of the car, of the engine.
You
all
burn more
those-
gas.
Right.
Your engine would work a lot harder.
Yes.
And your car would run really funky, right?
Yes.
Same thing with your body.
Okay.
You're a machine too. And so the two filters of the body that has to be clean most of the time is the liver and the
Liver.
kidney.
Right. Okay.
Okay? And so the reason why you want to do the fast is because you want to give your body bombarded with enzymes. That's the fuel it needs to clean the liver and the kidney, so that the body can run more smoothly and function much better. And it takes 72 hours to do that.
Okay.
And so the 4 juices that I made was mucus buster that opens up the sinus and lungs. So now you got more oxygen coming to the body. So that gives you more cardio.
Right.
Okay? Then you want to concentrate on getting rid of all the old waste in your large intestines.
The gut buster?
The gut buster. Right.
I'm learning.
Right. And so what that does is the black seeds in the papaya is the number one thing to hydrate your large intestines.
Okay.
Papaya. The black seeds in there really gets the old waste softened so that it will move and give you good bowel transit movement. Because remember, you got an ascending colon, you got a bridge, then you got a descending colon. That's 5 feet. So you want to make sure that's hydrated. Now, here's an interesting fact. In the 70s, the FDA approved fructose corn syrup. When they did that, diabetes started to climb, and it's been climbing ever since because as you get older, you can't break that stuff down. All those artificial sweeteners and stuff like that, your body cannot break it down. Stop using this fake sugar in your teas and coffees and stuff like that because that's confusing the body, and it'll give you this high, and then you'll have this crash. And when you have that crash, what'll happen is you'll go and reach for something immediate, and most of the time it's junk food.
Right.
And
most people don't go to fruits.
Most fruits don't go to fruits and vegetables. They go to the Doritos or some crazy like that.
Something easy.
Something easy. And so when the coronavirus hit, a lot of people were doing the fast, and they were getting over the coronavirus a lot quicker, opposed to them having a long, prolonged symptoms. This was helping them heal much faster because now they were changing the filters.
Yes.
They were cleaning the filters. Beets is number one thing to clean the kidneys, and dandelions number one thing to clean the liver. And so, and the papaya was opening up all this clogged stuff. So when you give your digestive system a break, you have a self-healing body. Mm-hmm. So your body will go to work when you put the right fuel in it to get rid of everything it doesn't need. So the body's going to release the toxins in 3 ways: urination, defecation, and through the skin.
Right.
So now your body's going to go through this metamorphosis. You're going to probably lose between 5 to 15 pounds in 3 days. You won't be hungry because you're eating, you're not chewing. You're becoming a liquiditarian.
Question, can I still have my morning coffee?
No. No.
Okay.
No coffee.
I thought I'd ask because I bet a bunch of people are going to ask
listen,
that.
do not.
Nothing but juices and water.
Juices and water.
For 3 days.
Now, here's the thing about coffee. Okay.
Oh no, you're gonna beat up on my coffee. It's organic.
I'm not here to be the food police, guys. I'm just saying. Imagine. I'm gonna give you a scenario for coffee. Okay. Imagine if you sat in your car and you pressed on the gas and didn't go nowhere. What do you think the engine would do? And you did that 5 days a week.
It would blow. The engine would blow. I don't know.
The car would run harder because you're revving it up. And the longevity of that car would diminish because you're revving it up, but you're not going nowhere.
Is that what coffee does to our bodies?
You're revving up the heart.
Oh.
Which could lead, because as you get older, why are you pressing on the gas and not doing nothing? If you're not matching your activity to what you're pumping yourself up for, even though it gives you this just jolt of like, I'm woke and this, that, the other, but it's got to match the movement.
Yeah.
Okay? And so I don't have nothing against coffee. I'm just saying do anything that you do in moderation.
Right.
Okay, so make sure that it's not so habit forming that you waking up 5 days a week or 7 days a week and, you feel like, you have to have this coffee because coffee is addictive. It's,
yes, it is.
It's a coca bean.
Yes.
So that bean has like addictive properties into it. So you might want to, that's why you want to fast so that you can drain your body of the things that it's addicted to because they got food disguised as drugs disguised as food out here. Yeah. Now, that's the reason why you have to read the back of the box because the front of the box is for entertainment. Mm-hmm. It looks good. You got smiling people on there. They look like, ooh, this is great. But the back of the box is for the information. And we got to start turning around the box and saying, man, this sounds like a science project. Maybe it don't need to be in me.
Absolutely.
If it's got color this and I can't pronounce that word and what's this mean? Yeah. And it's not simple to the point. Like if you read the ingredients in my stuff,
There's only like 3 or 4 things.
Right.
And they're the fruits and vegetables.
It's fruits and vegetables. It's our species diet. Now, here's the thing. Now, I'm going to tell you guys why I'm going to, that you know that you're a herbivore, not a carnivore. Now, here's just a couple of characteristics. A carnivore can only do this with its mouth. It can only go up and down.
Okay.
A herbivore can do this with its mouth.
Okay.
Because it's a chewing mechanism.
Okay, so the carnivore goes up and down, and the herbivore goes...
Can do side to side.
Side to side.
You can,
okay.
Right. You can do that with your jaws.
Yeah.
You're a herbivore. Now, here's another characteristic of a herbivore. A carnivore's intestines is between 10 to 20 feet long. A herbivore's intestines is between 25 and 35 feet long. Your intestines is 30 feet long. You're a herbivore. And so we've got the plumbing meant for fruits and vegetables. And people say, well, Rob, I got to get my proteins from my meat and this, not that. Like, well, let's address that. If the strongest animal on the planet is gorilla and only eats plants and vegetables, where's he getting this stuff from?
Oh, that's a good one.
See?
Never thought of that.
Yeah. So we've been tricked into thinking that we
need the meat.
We need the meat when we don't have no fangs and nothing like that to break this stuff down, and it ends up drying out our large intestines, especially when we're drinking. Listen, I'm just gonna say the people with the fast foods. I don't want to get sued by naming nobody's names, but they usually have fries with their food products, or they have a soda, a burger, or fries. The problem with that is the soda has fructose corn syrup in it because it's in a fountain machine. The fructose corn syrup gives you a syrupy large intestine. So now instead you have good bowel trans movement, is moving like that, and it's hydrated. You have slow bowel trans movement, so it goes up your ascending colon like this, and it goes to your bridge like this, and then it go down. And this is where constipation comes in at, because we're drying our large intestines.
Yeah.
And we need to be hydrated there.
Well, you have so much knowledge. We can go on. I mean, there's so much information that I've learned from you already, only in just a couple conversations.
Well,
it's been...
But it's a learning process for all of us.
Absolutely.
Because this is a shared community.
And we need the reinforcement of this information so that we could absorb it and use it.
Oh, yeah, of course, because knowledge is power.
Yes, absolutely. Let's repeat your website, your social media handle, and where do people where can people pick up juices? You ship them, pick them up. How does that work?
Okay, that's a good question. So the website is purejuicejoint.com. You got to put that in. You got to put in the word "the" because somebody try to it's a whole nother story. But the purejuicejoint.com. My social media is purejuicejoint. On Instagram. And so we're in a ghost kitchen right now, so we're producing it on a commercial basis.
Okay.
And so if you're on the south side, you can pick it up. The juice is at Choice for Life. That's one of the places that you can pick up the juice, and it's a colonic place. So if you do the 3-day juice fast, please follow it up with a colonic, because the juices will soften up the waste. But the colonic...
What do you mean colonic? How do you spell that?
Colonic, C-O-L-O-N-I-C.
Okay.
Colonic. Did I say it right? Yeah, colonic. So here's how you do a colonic. Okay, so they take a spigot and they put it in your rectum and they fill your large intestines with water. So you got 30 feet of water solutions that's going through your intestines, and then your body's gonna let it come back out.
Okay.
Okay, so it's sort of like hosing down your intestines.
Okay.
And so now you get the colonic, and now they're gonna put it in, and they pull it back out, and now that gets rid of all that fecal matter that kind of pastes itself around the large intestines. Now here's the thing. I just want y'all to know this. If you say my stomach is growling, I'm going to surprise y'all. Your stomach cannot growl.
Why? What do you mean?
Okay, here's the thing. When you hear that growling noise in your midsection, that's parasites rolling through your
No.
waist.
Okay.
Your stomach is the size of your
TMI.
fist.
No, I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
it's the size of your fist. It's up here. It cannot growl.
Okay.
It cannot make that sound.
So, what are you talking about? This colonic? What is that something that you're saying people should do?
That's what they should do.
Oh, I've never heard of it.
Okay, so when you do a colonic, it's just you.
You're cleansing
You
everything.
you cleansing your large intestines.
Okay,
and
is that before a juice?
I would say do it after the juice because the juices is gonna soften the waste.
Oh, I see.
And then the colonics is sort of like, imagine you taking a garden hose and you filling it through water, and then the water comes out the other end.
Right.
That's what the colonic is. We're gonna fill you up with water to get rid of all the
stuff.
fecal stuff stuck to hydrate the large intestines. And remember, people can drink water, but water's a solvent. It's not gonna not gonna hydrate you. You're gonna be hydrated on a cellular level when you drink the juices.
Right.
Like I got a watermelon juice that if anyone has like calcification of the brain or they got cognitive functions, because remember, the older you get, if you don't hydrate the brain or you're not getting hydrated, the brain can be dehydrated as well. That's why dementia and everything else sets in. And so the way you hydrate the brain is you drink raw watermelon juice or you drink cold pressed watermelon juice. You either eat raw watermelons. So if anybody's older and they haven't dementia or anything else, start to feed their parents or whatever watermelon,
raw watermelon
or
juice.
they can get my Fresh Fire, which is watermelon pineapple. That works on inflammation.
Okay.
Now, watermelon is very important because it's the only juice that can break through the blood-brain barrier and hydrate the brain, because that's a very hard barrier to break through. But the reason why dementia sets in is because the brain gets calcified or starts to calcify and start to get hardened. And so you want to hydrate the brain. Remember, this is heaven. The gut is earth, and so you want it to be raining in heaven sometimes.
Okay.
And that's how you get that done.
Okay. Well, there's a whole lot of information that we took in just now, or I took in just now. I wanted to mention the two that we have here.
Okay.
The pineapple, which is only pineapple, right?
That's pineapple with the skin on it now.
With the skin.
Now, here's the thing about this, is that a lot of times when people are doing pineapple juice, they cut off the outer rim,
shell,
the shell of the pineapple. But that's where all the enzymes are at. It's like you're throwing out the baby with the bathwater.
So when you're juicing, you're keeping it all.
I'm keeping it on.
Oh, okay. That's great. And then the other one, which I had mentioned, was the blood of Jesus, which I said was my favorite, but there's a couple of them that are my favorites already. And then the best way to get them is to go onto the website or to reach out to you any other way?
Yeah, you can reach me at 312-622-1057. That's 312-622-1057. Just ask for the GOAT. You can either pick it up at my Ghost Kitchen, which is on 34th and Ashland, or you can order online for a drop-off, or if you want it shipped. And we also do vegan food.
Oh, yes.
Which
you brought me. I just tasted that taco, and it's amazing. I had a little stuffiness when I started, and it cleared it up.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, amazing stuff. And the information's on the website too, right?
Yes. So we also do food prep. So if someone wants to come off a juice fast, because this is really important. A lot of times people say, well, I want to do a fast because I want to lose weight, stuff like that. It's not about that. Now, when you do a 3-day juice fast on my juices, here's the thing that happens. First of all, you won't be hungry because you're actually eating. You're not chewing. Okay? So when people say, I can't do that 3 days,
yes, you can. They're going to starve.
Let me ask you a question. How long do you think it takes for you to actually be hungry? Or actually to be starving, where you, like, I am starving, like I'm, like... How long you think that
I don't know, because I don't think I've felt starvation, and, like other people think starvation is, but a little bit hungry, 5 hours after a salad or 3 or 4 hours after a salad.
I'm talking starving.
No.
Starving.
I don't know, because
okay.
we're here and we don't really starve ourselves.
Now watch this. Jesus showed us the way. It takes 40 days and 40 nights for you to actually be starving.
Okay.
And it's a water resuscitation in your throat. So everything else is just you've been trained to eat at these particular times.
Right.
And this is just a matter of habit.
Yeah.
So when you're drinking the juices, you're actually eating. You're just not.
You're not chewing.
And so you give your digestive system a break. The digestive system is going to get rid of all the things that it doesn't want, which is why my wife lost so much weight when she did the fast, because your body starts to create stem cells. When you stop eating, your body creates stem cells. That makes you look younger. Remember I told you before 25?
Yeah, we all want to look younger.
Yeah, it makes you look younger. But it also creates hormones that makes you feel younger. Okay? Like I can run with the best of them, And I'm 58. I just turned 58.
No way.
Yeah, I just turned 58.
Wow.
And that's the process. And so if you want to have your latter days be greater than your former days, it's just like in the Bible days, people mourn, they pray. Mourning, that's fasting. And so once you do that and you do it on every 90 days, you're going to have more energy. You're gonna have more elasticity in the skin, because the skin will start producing the oils that you need to keep everything tight and right. You're gonna have more cognitive function. If you want your kids to be smarter, don't give them cereal. Give them raw watermelon, because their grades will go up. Or give them my watermelon juice. Okay, that's brain food. Okay, so everything we need is on the planet. Now remember, there's 3 ways to identify your species diet. If it grows below the ground, you're supposed to eat that. If it grows above the ground, you're supposed to eat that. If it grows on the trees, you're supposed to eat that. A carrot won't run from you, but a rabbit will. You ain't supposed to eat that. Okay? We were naming animals. We wasn't consuming them. Well, I ain't call that cow chopped steak. I ain't call that pig pork chops. I said pig. I said cow. And so when we start to consume these things, it backs up in us, because we wasn't meant to do that. Right. And it causes all type of problems in our digestive system. So health is the new wealth. And so our motto with the Pure Juice Joint is that change your lives one sip at a time.
That's great. Health is the new wealth.
Health is the new wealth.
Okay, awesome. Well, Rob G, the Juice Goat.
Yes, ma'am. That's me.
Terrific information. Thank you so much for being here.
I appreciate being here.
Yes, and continued success with your juice business.
Yes.
And I will continue to drink them.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Hey, thank you so much for listening today. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe so you can keep up with my latest episodes. You can find me on all social media platforms at Dalia the Realtor. To reach me directly, call me at 773-879-4855. I'll see you on the next episode. Make it a great day.